So welcome everyone to another edition of Stephen Follows Instructions. I'm Stephen Downs and I'll be following instructions for this video. Today we'll be following instructions on a CSS Tricks article called Let's Create a Custom Audio Player. And because I still don't know how to find the URL for the YouTube live stream, until I've started the live stream, I have to do it this way, so just bear with me as I find that. We should be live now. We have an excellent connection. Let's open up my YouTube browser, my Firefox browser. And here it is. Until I've started the live stream, I have to do it this way, so just bear with me. So I can close this. Whoops. We'll go to Twitter, put in the link. There we go. And why the India web? A video from Webbed Briefs. That's something to watch this afternoon, I guess. And maybe even link in my newsletter. But for now, we're going to go to the CSS Tricks article. Let's create a custom audio player. So here I am. I've got OBS up and running. I've got YouTube up and running. So let's see what we can do here. So, beginning. HTML has an audio element. That's been around for a while. I've played around with it a bit in the past. Hasn't worked. And that's mostly me, I'm sure. But, I've always wanted to have a nice proper audio player. And if you're wondering where I would put it here in my listen pane. And these are all the MP3s that I harvest with Grasshopper, but I have no real way of listening to them. So I have to do this. I click on them.
Principal Matters Podcast, episode 233.
But what I really like to do is just be able to click on them and have them open up in my own custom audio player that could just play right in this pane here. So that's what I'd like to do at some point in the future. I don't know if I can do that following these instructions, but, there's always a lot of mystery. Now, also, it's 20 minutes to 12. I don't want to spend 2 hours on this because I'm going to get hungry. So let's try to keep this below 2 hours if we can. So, all right. So, did you know it's possible to create a custom audio player? Well, of course we can, right? And here's the custom audio player that we're gonna create, I guess. So looks pretty nice. Put on your headphones, crank up some music. I can't do that because I'm broadcasting live, and I will run into TMCA problems and copyright lawyers, and so okay. Let's examine the default HTML audio players. So this is something from Blink. I don't even know what Blink is. I'll have to look at. I guess it's a browser, right? I'm always curious. So let's check. Blink browser. Okay, it's developed as part of the Chromium project. All right, so they must mean when they say Blink. So you see, I've already learned something. When they say Blink, they mean Chrome. But they can't say Chrome. Okay. Firefox, which is what I use, and Internet Explorer, which doesn't work at all, ever, but is still in here for completeness, I guess. So, we need to have a play pause button, a seek slider, current time indicator, time in the video, or in the audio, not like real time. Duration of the sound file, way to mute, and a volume control slider, which presumably would be a way to mute. Not going to go for anything too fancy, thank you. So, basic markup, styling, and script for each element. So this is HTML, and then now at these parts, at this part of the project, I always have to think, where am I going to do this? Am I going to do this just on my browser, just on my desktop? Am I going to do this on my website? I might have to. A lot of stuff won't work on the desktop. You have to actually put it on a website somewhere. Is it complicated, so I'll have to create a Docker container or something like that? I don't think any of that's the case, so I'm going to try to just do it in my own desktop, and we'll see how it goes from there. So before we get started, well, let's keep reading instructions before we get ahead of ourselves. So HTML, okay, so we have plenty of elements to work with. Okay, the okay, play pause should use button. Okay, so okay, they're already showing us markup. Let's do that. Okay, let's I'll create a new directory under code projects. So here's code projects. See, I get lots of code projects. I'm going to create a new directory or new folder. I'll call it audio player. Should be among the simpler code projects that I have. All right, and now I'm going to use Visual Studio Code, which I've talked about before in this series, and I'm going to open folder, and of course I'm going to open the new directory that I just created. Code projects, audio player, select. So there it is, nice blank. Let's get rid of the welcome screen because we don't need it. So now we know from previous experience that on the left hand side, this is where my directory is of all my files. I don't have any files yet. This is my working directory where I'll write code, and if I need to run a terminal, I can open one up with this command and it'll show up down here. There's more to it. You could just use, I guess, Notepad or Note tab or whatever, but just to be consistent with what I usually use, I'm going to use this. So, and I'm going to create a file. So here we go. I'm going to create a new file. Save all. All right, here we go. So new file, and I'm going to call it index.html. And that opens it up here, and I'll just give it audio player headline, Control S to save. And now I'm going to open this in my browser. So let's open it up. So file, open file. I'll find my directory again. Code project, audio player, index, open it up, and there it is. Okay, so I'm all set up to start coding. It really should say audio player. Control S to save. Let's reload, or if you're an Internet Explorer person, you're refreshing. Okay, there we go. All right, back to the instructions. So first of all, we're going to make a div with a play icon, ID equals play icon, a div with a play button, basically. So let's put that into our file. They haven't told us to do that yet. I'm kind of reading into it a bit. Control S, and let's see if that works. So this is why it takes so long, right? Because I do everything and test everything. Oh, that's the world's worst button. Let's make this bigger. It's still the world's worst button. Okay. Wow. Yeah, okay. So So the question becomes, well, my question's a bit different, but how do we swap between the two buttons, both visually and functionally? So it's saying it will contain the play icon, but the pause icon should also be in this button. That way we're toggling between the two rather than taking up space by displaying both at the same time. That makes sense, and that's an interesting design problem for buttons generally, right? Buttons are typically, you want to have, depending on the state of the button, maybe something different showing on the button. So that's actually a great question. Lovely question. So how do we swap? A little animation. I thought they said they were going to keep this simple. Could take place as the icon transitions from the play to pause. What would help us to accomplish that is Lottie, a library that renders Adobe After Effects animations nicely. We don't have to create the animation on After Effects. So the animated icon we're going to use is provided for free by Icons 8. Okay. So now they're going to provide their example in a pen. This is CodePen. If you're not familiar with it, it's a great place for showing code. So let's edit on CodePen. Let's see what it's going to show us when I click on it. There we go. All right. So, and they've already put some code in. Their button's a lot nicer than my button. So, and there's the CSS styling and the JavaScript. And as we can see here, we're importing from Lottie Web, etc. So let's see if they explain any of this. Don't think I need them to explain it, but let's see if they do anyways. Okay, the HTML, yeah, there are. Good. Contains the following: container for the player, text that describes the container, and a button. Okay. The CSS section includes some light styling. Okay, so that's all they're going to say. So again, because I'm doing this on my website instead of CodePen, because CodePen, everything works on CodePen, but I want to see if it works in a real world situation. So hilarious. Okay, so let's give it some light styling. Let's go to the CodePen because that's the only place they've given us. So where is it? Where did it go? There it is. Let's copy this CSS. Is there a way to just copy it? Nope. So I'll just copy it all. Yeah, light styling. Copy. And now let's go into here. I could, maybe I should create it in a separate CSS file. So let's create a new file. Don't have to do it that way, but I think it's just better form. So audio player.css. So I've created that, and there it is. Let's have a look at it. So here's some formatting for the button. Here's some formatting for the audio player container. See, a lot of the stuff I had trouble with when I was doing it is already implicit here, right? So the container, here's the margin, how wide it's going to, that's going to be really wide, 90%, but it's 90% of whatever div it's in. So audio player container before. I've never really learned this whole before after stuff, so I don't really know what it means, but I wonder if there's a really quick guide. Let's try this. CSS before. Yeah, okay. So inserts something before the content of each selected element. So P before. Okay, so let's try that. Read this. Okay, so here's the element, right? Read. My name is Donald. I live in Duxburg. But before each paragraph, it puts in this code. So, the content, background color, etc., sticks that in right before that element and can be used for some. Okay, so that's all that means. I'm sure there are many more uses for it, but okay, it's worth knowing. So let's close that. Let's close that. All right. So that's what this. So what's happening here then is before my audio player, it's going to do some stuff. It's going to calculate a width and a height. It's going to shift things to the left and top a wee bit. It's going to put a background. That's the most important. It's going to put a background shader in. I guess it'll look like that or something like that. And then the paragraph, that will be the content. The play icon, which we've looked at, and path stroke, no idea what that's going to be yet. So, okay. So now we need to bring in this style sheet. I always forget how to do that. HTML, include CSS. I really do always forget how to do that. So, that's the way to do it. Internal, external. Here we go. Link rel equals. You have to put that in the head, so we need the whole thing here. Okay. See, I literally always forget to do that. I don't know why, but okay. I don't need that title anymore. Put all of this up here, and we'll finish these tags down here as well. Body. Oh, interesting. It's getting ahead of me there, that Visual Studio Code. It knows what I'm trying to put in there, and it puts it in there for me, and I have to be watchful. Now, the name of the file here is audioplayer.css. I always worry about putting a space in file names, but it should be okay. Control S. Let's see what that's done to my currently awful page. Nothing. So, okay. Well, a little bit. This text is nicer. All right, let's go back to the instructions. Okay, now the JavaScript. Okay, so we're going to import the Lottie library. We're going to set up the variable for the button that will contain both icons. We'll call it play icon container. Right. This is nice. That means they're not using jQuery. We're going to use basic JavaScript. Document get element by ID. I'm actually preferring to do that these days. And we're going to create a variable called state, and using let, we'll assign it a starting value play. So it's going to either say play or pause. I imagine will be the other state, and yeah, that'll be the thing that toggles to tell us what icon to show. Okay, this is the animation. Path. Oh man, I don't like that, but because I don't like in bringing in all of this stuff from some other website. I might try to just download it from somewhere and save it locally. I prefer to do that, but I'm not going to get fancy just yet. It's scalable vector graphics. So basically it's a way of creating graphics by drawing lines using JavaScript. And we're going to call it demo animation. Good enough. And so once we've basically built this animation as a function, now we're going to call that function go and stop. Okay, I don't see a function that says go and stop, but maybe it's somewhere. No, it isn't. So I don't know where that's coming from. Probably from the import. Okay. And then adds an event listener to the button so that when it's clicked, the player toggles between play and pause. Okay, so that seems all pretty reasonable. Again, I'm going to create a separate JavaScript for this. It's really annoying to copy from. Okay, let's try that again. Is this going to give me... No, didn't think so. I could just copy it from the code pen. That's probably easier. And less likely, actually, I will do that. It's less likely as well to create artifacts. I've had this happen before where they throw some code into a web page, but just because of the way the web page is processed, you get artifacts in the code, like line feed that's there should not be there, or the line feed that should be there is for some reason not there, or a bracket has been escaped or something like that. So I'm just going to copy from this. Does this actually give me a... No. Just, I was looking for a nice little thing that said copy, but no. Again, still no. Alright, so let's copy that. Right click, copy. Could also have used Control-C to do that. We'll pop over into here. Let's create my JavaScript file. So, new file, audioplayer.js, and I'll put my code in here, and I'll include it here. Now I think I remember how to do this. Script source equals audio player .js, and then we close the script, and Visual Studio Code knows that we need to do that, so Control S to save, and let's see how our page looks now. Nothing. Nothing. Why not? Not sure it worked. Let's inspect element, which is a nice tool in Firefox. There's a similar thing in Chrome, and I'm going to go to the console. Now I'm going to erase everything that was already in there, refresh or reload my page, and still nothing. Still the world's worst button. And maybe it's not finding these. Let's reload. It's not going to show me any network activity, probably because everything is local, right? Oh, yes. Isn't that odd? I would have thought we'd get more here. But they haven't told us to do more yet on the page, so maybe I'm just getting antsy. Let's go back to the instructions. Here's what the script is doing minus the code. All right. Imports the library, references the button, defines a variable, loads the animation, displays the play icon on load, and adds an event listener. Well, I'm not seeing that. What's it doing here? See, this is what it should be doing. Just check. Maybe this code is different. Doesn't really look different, does it? Let's Control S. Audio player ish. So we'll see if the code is taken. Yeah, it's still ugly. So, but no console errors. Nothing. So my best conclusion is, see, this is why I do it like this, right? My best conclusion is it's because I'm running it off a file. And Firefox is really finicky about that. So I have two choices. I could pop open a container and run it in that, or I can upload it to my website. Don't really want to open a container. It's a little bit more work than I need. So I'm going to open up my FTP program, WinSCP, and log in to my website. So this is just a website I hosted on Reclaim Hosting. So let's find a directory where I can do this. Let's go Files, Audio, and then I'll make a directory here called Audio Player. Might as well just put it right with the audio, eh? So let's make a new directory. New directory, Audio Player. Again, I don't know if I should have spaces in that, but just doesn't. Maybe it's, it just doesn't seem to be an issue anymore. So I've gone into that. Here now I'm in D already. D data code project. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Don't ask me why it wasn't there before. Code project, audio player. I'm going to copy all of these files in. Okay, so now they're on my website. I don't need to worry about execution permission because it's all HTML. The execution actually happens in the browser. So this is the address. So files, audio player. I'm just going to copy that and save myself a little typing. Now let's go here. So www.downs.ca/files, audio player, index.html. And it's the world's worst button. View page source. Audioplayer.css. I see nothing. Okay. But I know it's there. Audioplayer.js. And again, I see nothing. I don't know what's going on here. Alright, let's maybe change some file names, because that could be my problem, right? So let's rename this to audio player without a space. Let's rename this to audioplayer.js without a space. Let's now come to index, and let's remove the space in these calls to these things. Control S. Now, let's look at it locally first. So I'm just going to go back. There's the file again. I'll look at this locally. I'll reload. View source. And nothing. Why? Let's just look at the directory that I'm in. Okay. They're there. Oh, gee. It says 0, like 0 byte length? Yeah. Have I forgotten to save them? Yes. Oops, not that. Z that out. Cancel. Control S to save. Control S to save. I feel a little stupid now. Alright. Let's go back to where I was. I don't need to view source at the moment. Let's close this because I think it'll be nicer. Let's reload this page. Still don't have an icon. But at least I have something. Now that might be because, well, let's view the page source. Audio player CSS, there it is. That's good. That's what's supposed to happen. Audio player JS, that's what's supposed to happen. Alright, so why don't I have a button? My best guess is that Firefox doesn't want me to import the external script. Remember, that's go into it here. This, if this is for some reason not working, and that's interesting. Import LottiWeb from. It should still work. So, or maybe that's not working. One or the other. Well, let's see if we can find any errors. So I'll open up the inspector again. Inspect element. Really, it inspects the whole page. So console, so I can see if I have made any errors. Let's clear all this, although I have the feeling I can see what's happening. Reload. Import declarations may only appear at top level of a module. So let's look at my code. Well, I can't see it getting any topper than that. Huh. Let's look at it in this. See. It's exactly the same, right? So it should work. Change view. No, that's not going to help me. Huh. Isn't that odd? Let's try uploading these to my website. Doubt that that'll make a difference, but there they go. And let's now try loading it on the website. Reload. Yeah, same problem. So I'm not sure what's happening there. Copy message. And we'll search for the message. What's the date? Oh, that's 4 years ago, so it's probably not experimental anymore. Let's try this in Chrome. Sometimes stuff works in Chrome and it doesn't work in Firefox, and they haven't tested it in anything except Firefox. So open file. Let's go with a new tab. I don't know how to open something new in Chrome. How annoying. I don't see a way to open a file in Chrome. There's got to be a way, right? I don't see it there. They really just want me to go to any of these things, but I don't want to go there. Home, other bookmarks. Not seeing that. All right, well, let's look it up. Open file in Chrome. Press Control O. There's got to be another way too, right? They seem to have forgotten a menu item to launch a dialog box to open a local file. There is no menu for Chrome. How stupid. Okay. Control O. Wow. I'm sure they haven't forgotten. They just don't want people doing it. Data. Code projects, audio player, index.html, open, and no logo. The page source, same thing. Inspect, console. Cannot use import statement outside a module. Okay, I don't know what's happening. Let's go back to the instructions. Remember how I said I didn't want this to be an hour? Remember that? All right. Oh, and you're just going to skip on like nothing went wrong because it all works in CodePen. So why doesn't it work on my website or on my desktop? Yeah, it's supposed to just work, right? Huh. See, this is the sort of stuff I really hate when I'm following instructions. All right. Works fine in CodePen. Okay, we're done. Right. But there's no actual instructions. Resources. Doesn't use any external JavaScript or CSS resources except what it's been declared. Rerun. HTML. CSS, and I've copied these all from the web, right from this pen, and it works here, but it doesn't work in either browser because this import is somehow happening outside the module. Maybe if I put it all on one page. I'll try that. So let's take, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these references and I'll create a place for my scripts. And I'll create a place for my style. I think I'll put the style in first I don't know why it indents scripts but not style. That seems sort of inconsistent behavior. But 1, 2, 2. I know it seems OCD to be indenting these like this, but and really, in fact, they should be indented to the same degree that these down here are indented, and it bothers me that this is even further indented. I like to do it like that, so everything's nice and neat. Alright, now let's get the CSS first. All of this, and I know that we can just copy all of this. Control C, and we'll paste it right in here. And we'll get all of our JavaScript, and I'll just copy all of this and we'll paste it right in here. That should work, so I'll save it and let's see if we've made a change. So here's the file. Oops, no, that's the source. Here's the file. So reload. Nothing. Import declarations may only appear at the top level of a module. Oh. Add type equals module. Ah. That might work. Alright, let's back out of all these changes. So Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. For the Americans, Control Z, 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 still Control Zing, and there. Now, script type equals module. Let's see if that helps. I have my doubts, but let's see. Nope. So that didn't help at all from our 4-year-old help page. Let's see if there's any more answers anywhere. Whatever it is, this is from last year. It's closed. The import line is used when you load it in the module system, and it's not required if you load it via a script. So remove it and try again. Okay. Because I have loaded it via a script. See, I have a script. Oh no, well that's just, well, no. No, that's not the problem. Getting started gotchas. Okay. All major browsers now support ES6. That's ECMA script 6, in other words, JavaScript. Natively. That's nice. Blocked by course. That's cross-origin request scripting. That's what I expected. Type equals module. If you don't include it, you'll get a lot of different errors that are incredibly confusing. Yes. And this is what we get in Firefox. How old is this page? A couple of years. So add type equals module to your script tag, which I did. And I saved it. Right? There it is. Maybe it just didn't reload fully. Okay. That's a view source. Let's close that for now. Come back to this. Oh, this is the website, not the home page. All right, here we go. In the file, reloading with, I've got my, you can't see it, but I have my finger on the shift button as I do this. And nothing. Module source URI is not allowed in this document. All right, it's different now. Cross origin requests blocked. This is because I'm doing this on the desktop. Firefox hates me doing stuff on the desktop. So let's load all of this to my website. And remember, I've renamed a bunch of stuff, right? So I don't have these ones with the spaces anymore, so I'll just delete those. And so now I've got audio player, .css, .js, and my index file. So now let's go to the index file, reload it, and there's my icon. So that was the problem. A two-pronged problem. Can you believe this? Okay, so I had to include this type equals module in my script declaration, and then it still wouldn't run, not on my desktop. I had to make sure I had it uploaded to my website, and that's where it runs. So and that's because of the cross origin stuff. The cross origin stuff is the script that I'm bringing in, or the script, the module that I'm importing is from another location. If I wanted it to work on my desktop, my module would also have to be on my desktop. Even then, it might not run. Okay. So that was annoying. And it's just, why? Because they tested it on CodePen. They didn't test it in a real environment. I don't know why they didn't need it in CodePen. Maybe because somewhere it's done automatically and it just doesn't come up. And so I had to go through that. So thanks, CSS Tricks. All right. Let's get back to the instructions then. Okay. And this will probably work on, it probably won't work here. This is in Chrome now, in case you can't tell by looking at the browser. Yeah, so again, we've got it blocked by the CORS policy. But if we go to downs.ca files, and this is a real file. You could actually load this on your own browser. In fact, I'll leave this up. So files, audio player. Yeah, so yeah, there it is. Notice a little lag. Okay, and remember that thing I was wondering about? Where'd it go? It's in here. Audioplayer.js. No, here it is. It's in the CSS at the bottom. The stroke with the blue, right? There's my stroke with the blue. So what the JavaScript did is it used that little bit of CSS to draw that. And if I changed the color of stroke, it would change the color of the little arrow. And remember that background that the before declaration preloaded? There it is in the awesome coloring of that box. They may say, oh yeah, we're just doing something simple, but that's a really nice effect. I'm going to remember that as well. I love that. Okay, So I'm learning stuff. Sometimes can be frustrating, but all right, back to the instructions, because I think we're going to move a bit faster now, I hope. All right, so we'll just close the Chrome, and we'll open Firefox, not email, Firefox. All right, back to the instructions. Okay, moving down. So now we're going to add a couple of things for the current time, that is current time in the audio file, and the duration. So I'll just copy those and put them into my audio. I'm getting an incoming call. Let's just see what we're getting here. Oh no, that's incoming call. Hover to reveal. Is that Teams again? I don't know who's making those incoming calls. I hate that. It says incoming call, hover to reveal, and then it's gone before I can do anything. So let's ignore it. After all, it's lunchtime. Alright, so let's put this in here. Control V to paste. Is that where they should go? Under the button? Let's check. Yeah. Alright. And now we need to add seek slider and volume control slider. And so I would say input type equals range. That's a new type for me. I've never seen that. Type equals range. Huh. I wonder what that looks like when you don't format it with anything. There are ways to find that out. I'm just going to quickly create a plain text file. This is Note tab. I use Note tab for stuff like this, right? Now I'm going to just save this as range.html. And this is just a quick temporary file. So I'm going to put it where I'm working, right? So in data, code projects, audio player, save. So temporary. I don't want to keep this for anything. I just want to see. So that's why I use a completely different text editor. File, open file, because Firefox has one. Range.html, open, and oh, neat. So that's what it looks like if I don't code it at all. I love that. I've never seen that before. Okay. Neat. Alright, so I don't need that anymore. And I can delete that file anytime I want, so when I'm in there again. So I'll add both of these then to my thingy. In fact, I'll add all of that again because it'll save me a 1/10 of a second to do it like that. Alright, so there they are. The original spans are still there and the new ranges are there. Control S to save, which I should be doing automatically. Back to my instructions. Styling range inputs with CSS is totally possible, but I'll tell you what, it's difficult for me to wrap my head around. This article will help. Okay, so let's look at that quickly. A sliding nightmare. Yeah. All right. So look at all the code needed to input type equals range to get a consistent experience. So this is input. Okay, this is a new kind of CSS declaration for me as well. This input type equals kind of declaration. Wow, that's a lot. Wow. Okay. That is a lot. styling the progress section of range. No wonder I had trouble with this when I tried it before. Okay. So sliding the progress section of range inputs is a tricky endeavor. Firefox provides one thing, Internet Explorer provides another thing. WebKit browsers don't provide anything, so they have to use the before element, which we just looked at. So instead we added event listeners in JavaScript. And that way we don't need to worry about all the different systems. Okay, that makes sense. And also, how do you display the percentage volume? The text content is updated as the user changes the volume through the slider. That makes sense. Since it's based on user input, I think this element should be an output element. Okay. Never heard of output elements, but okay. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. I'll save that. Control S. And open up my temporary page again. File. Oops. Open file. Range. Alright, so it just gives me the number. Alright, so that's the input. This is the output, just as a number here, but I'm sure if you style it, you can make it 100 boxes or 100 little lines or whatever. Still, an output element is new to me. So, but let's put that, I forget where they said that goes. I think under the slider. That's where I'll put it, and then I'll check. Alright, back to the page. No, above the slider. Okay. Control X, space, Control V, Control S to save. Alright, let's come back. Mute button. Okay, well, that's just a simple mute button. Okay, so let's put that in our page. Mute button. Alright, Control S to save. That's all of our basic markups, styling, and scripting we need at the moment. There's what it should look like. Let's see if it looks like that. And, oh, I have to upload it to the website. That's right. So let's upload it to the website. Don't need range, just these three things. Yes, yes. All right. Now let's see what it looks like. Those could be better. Could be a lot better. I don't know why mine didn't come out the way theirs did. And again, this is probably has something to do with viewports, and or it might just have to do with Firefox and Chrome styling things differently, and they're using only Chrome. Let's see how this works in Chrome. It's the same address, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, see, it looks nice in Chrome. And that actually works. But in Firefox, I get that. And that does not work. So what we have here is a control that works only in Chrome. That's a nice effect. You see the little animation there? It's a little slow though, you notice that? So, yeah, I guess it's supposed to be like that. I would personally speed it up, but so Works in Chrome, but not in Firefox. And I'm using the latest version of both browsers, so that's an issue. This is why you always test this stuff in more than one browser, right? Right. I can't fix this because I don't know what's broken. And I would actually, and I'm quite sure, I would actually have to go into the module that we imported to fix it. All right, back to the instructions. I think we're probably close to done. Maybe not. Oh, this is the other, that's the other page, that's why. I don't need this anymore. Here we go. Am I close to, that's the module. Not really. Okay. Volume percentage. Okay, mute button. This is what we've added all. Okay. Working on the functionality. The HTML element has a preload attribute. Gives the browser instructions on how to load the audio file, accepts one of these, none, don't load any, metadata, only the metadata, or auto load the complete auto file. And an empty string is equivalent to the auto value. But these are merely hints. The browser doesn't have to follow these values. And of course Safari is different. Nothing works in Safari. So for this player we would use the metadata value since it doesn't require much overhead and we want to display the length of the audio. So okay, we'll do that. So first of all we should create an audio element because we haven't done that yet. That has the basic features that we want. So there it is. And my favorite song.mp3 doesn't actually exist. So we'll have to fix that as well. But let's put this in. It's right above the play icon. Okay, so there it is. Preload metadata loop, and that just tells it to play it over and over and over again. Let's load this onto the website and see what it looks like in Chrome. Reload. And it actually breaks it. I wonder what it looks like in Firefox. And it breaks it there as well. Yeah. Probably because that file doesn't exist. Why don't we give it a file that exists? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop here. And we'll do a part 2. But it's been an hour. I'm hungry. And I encountered more problems than I expected. But I don't want these things to drag out to marathons that take up my entire day. So I'm going to stop it here. And I'll relabel it part 1, even though this should not be a part 1. And then I'll pick this up at a future date, not too long from now. And we'll see if we can ever get that actually finished. And meanwhile, I'll see if there's anything in the comments, etc., about it not styling properly in Firefox, because that does kind of bother me. So that's what I'll do for now. So I'm going to call it a broadcast. So this is Stephen Downs with Stephen Follows Instructions. Got 2 viewers. How about that? So thanks for hanging in there with me while I've gone through this. I hope you learned something. I certainly did. And I imagine I'll learn more in part 2. But really, I need some lunch now. So let's call it And just watch the Twitter and it'll come up again, although of course the videos will always be available on my YouTube web channel. You know what I mean. Alright, thanks a lot. Stephen Downs, out.